Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here, and we are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Monday, August 8th slate of MLB action. I'm super excited to dive into it. We've been on an insane run here recently. Hopefully, we can extend this starting into the next week. We do only have games starting at I think it's like the 6 o'clock time slot, Central Standard Time. But I am super excited to dive into it. We do have some really great matchups once again, as always. I'm really excited to look into it. I found 3 plays that I really, really like, so I don't want to ramble on too much. But before we did dive into it, I did just want to go ahead and say that we are still currently on the road to 7,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys do like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Next, I did just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out here to all of our members here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do. And thank you guys so much for giving such a small channel such a big chance, as I always say. It truly does mean the absolute world to me, so thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do. So without any further ado, I'm not going to really hold you guys back any longer. We're going to go ahead and do a quick recap. But before we do, and boom, ladies and gentlemen, yes, we are back with the sunnies on, and you guys know exactly what that means. If you guys are new, that means that we got a sweep. You guys can see it in the overlay. We ended up going 3-0 on our plays as of yesterday, so we are, as of right now, on a 7-1 run in our last 8 plays. Hopefully we can keep this hot streak up. I definitely think that we can. I found really great plays today, but let's go ahead and do a quick recap before we dive into today's plays. So we did have Houston and Cleveland under 8 runs at minus 105 odds. Now, truly, that one was not really that much of a sweat. Actually, it wasn't a sweat. I don't know why I said it like that. There was no sweat at all. Cleveland was the only team that scored a run out of the 2 teams, and they had 1 run, and that was it. There was nothing else. If you hammered every under, NRFI, first 5 under, total game under, team totals, everything would have hit for the under on yesterday. But and there was plenty of hits. Cleveland had plenty of hits. They just could not convert it into runs. So we kind of got lucky in that sense, but it ended up working out for us. Then we had the Blue Jays and the Twins, no run first inning. I know that both these teams do score a lot in the first inning, but they had both their aces on the mound. They had both really, really great pitchers on the mound, so I really loved this play, and it ended up working out for us. I thought it should have been minus like 135, 140, but, hey, I'll definitely take my odds where they're at. Then we did have the Mariners minus a half in the first 5 run line here versus the Angels at minus 115. That one ended up working out. Winker, I just wanted to go ahead and say I love you. You were the man. If you guys were watching it, Jesse Winker ended up hitting a grand slam, and that was pretty much some of the only ones that they ended up scoring. They scored 1 run. The Mariners scored 1 run early in the game. The Angels came back and scored 2. So literally, if Jesse Winker wouldn't have hit that grand slam, we may have lost that bet, but it ended up working out for us. Jesse Winker, I love you. Shout out Jesse Winker. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's plays. So our first play of the day, we're taking the Birds. We're taking the Red Hot Birds, Orioles plus 1.5 here versus the Blue Jays at minus 125 odds. Now, if you take a look at it, Baltimore, they are 35-17 at home to the run line. They are the best in the entire MLB when it comes to the home run line. And they're 29-9 to the run line as a home underdog, which is also the best in the entire MLB. All the numbers are pointing to this one as of right now. Toronto, they do struggle a little bit more on the road when it comes to covering this run line. They are 25-28 to the run line on the road, which is the 5th worst in the entire MLB when it comes to road run line, cover percentage. But as a road favorite, they're even worse. They are 15-24 to the run line as a road favorite this year, so I love this play. Baltimore, they have also covered in 5 of their last 7. Like I said, they are red hot, but following a loss, which they did just end up having recently to Pittsburgh, they didn't just lose. They lost by 7. They got smoked against Pittsburgh. They're 36-15 to the run line following a loss. So I think this is a great bounce back spot here for the Orioles as well. And the Orioles have a good pitcher on the mound as well. Jordan Lyles is going to be on the mound for the Orioles with a 4.40 ERA over the course of the season, a 4.05 in his last 5 games, and a 2.68 ERA at home this year. So Not only has he been really great over the course of the entire season, he's been really good on the road this year. Or at home, excuse me, and he's been pretty solid over his last 5 games. But where he's really, really been good has been in his last 3 starts. He has 1, 0, and 3 earned runs in each of his last 3 games. And the game that he did end up having 3 earned runs was versus New York. We all know New York is a very good offense, and they can definitely get hot if they need to. And so the fact that they kept them to 3, I definitely like my odds with that one. And on the other side of the mound, we got Kikuchi here for Toronto. Definitely hasn't been terrible, but he definitely hasn't been great either. He has a 4.86 ERA over the course of the season, a 5.74 ERA on the road this year, and a 9.0 ERA through 4 innings pitched versus Baltimore. He has not necessarily been great, so I do think we do see a little bit of value there. Also, in Kikuchi's last 3 starts, he has only covered this run line in 1 of them, and it was versus Detroit. And Detroit, don't get me wrong, they have been a pretty solid team, but they're not necessarily a great team, so I do think we see a little bit of value there. Also, Baltimore, they are 3rd in bullpen ERA, and Toronto is 15th. So whenever it does come down to the bullpen, I do think Baltimore has an edge there. So that's going to be our first play of the day. Orioles plus 1.5 here versus the Blue Jays at minus 125 odds. Now for our second play of the day, we're going to be taking the Pirates' first 5 team total under 1.5 here versus Arizona at minus 115 odds. Now if you take a look at it, this is a little bit of a line reading pick, because if you look in their first 5, the team total is set to 1.5. Okay, well the full game is only 2.5, so they do not expect this team to score a lot of runs. Not to mention the over-under is set to 8. That's a pretty low over-under, so I'll definitely take it there. Pittsburgh is also 28th when it comes to runs per game. They definitely don't score a whole bunch of runs. They actually they average 3.92 runs per game at home this year. That drops all the way down to 3.26 on the road. So I definitely think that we see a little bit of value there. Pittsburgh is also 28th when it comes to first 5 runs per game at an average of 1.9. So we just have to have them be a little bit worse than their average, and I definitely think they can be versus the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks, they are 23rd when it comes to runs allowed, so definitely not great, but they give up roughly 5.02 runs per game on the road. That drops all the way down to 4.18 at home, so they are a much better defense at home so far this year, so I think that that's a good spot to target as well. Pittsburgh is also 2-1 to this line in the 3 matchups here versus the Diamondbacks this year, so hopefully we can see a repeat of that. Zach Gallen's going to be on the mound for Arizona. He's been fantastic, and there's no way around it. Has a 3.31 ERA over the course of the season, 3.23 at home, 3.07 in his last 5, and a 3.0 through 6 innings pitched versus Pittsburgh. So he has been very good versus Pittsburgh. He's been very good at home, the whole 9 yards. And if you look at his last 3 starts, he has a earned ERA log of 3, 1, and 0. So that's pretty good numbers there. I'll definitely take it. That's going to be our second play of the day. Pirates first 5 team total under 1.5 here versus Arizona at minus 115 odds. Now for our third and final play of the day, we're going to be taking the Angels and the A's no run first inning at minus 135 odds. Now if you take a look at it, the Angels, they are 24th when it comes to runs per game, and Oakland is 29th. Both these offenses are not necessarily great at scoring runs, and now the defenses aren't necessarily great either. LA is 12th when it comes to runs allowed per game, but they do allow 0.16 fewer on the road, so it's a little bit more of a favorable spot for them. And LA, when it comes to scoring in the first inning, they do score 34% of the time at home in the first inning, but that drops all the way down to 23% in the first inning on the road. So I think that is a really great spot to target. They definitely don't score nearly as many runs on the road in the first inning as they do at home. And Oakland is kind of a similar situation as well. Oakland, they do score 28% of the time on the road this year in the first inning, but they actually only score 19% of the time at home. So I definitely think that's a good spot to target. And we have some pretty comparable pitchers here. Hopefully they can get it done for us. We do have Jose Suarez going to be on the mound here for the Angels. He does have a 4.55 ERA over the course of the season. 4.33 on the road. Definitely not great numbers. But versus Oakland this year, he has been really solid. He's pitched 5 innings so far versus Oakland, and he has a 0.0 ERA. Doesn't really get too much better than that. But not to mention, in his last 9 starts, he's 8-1 to the NRFI. So hopefully that does end up working out for us. He also has 0 earned runs in his last 2 games. So he's been solid. Hopefully he can do that for us once again. And on the flip side of the mound, Oakland, they're starting Cole Irvin. Cole Irvin's been great. I don't really think I need to talk too much about it, but he does have a 3.04 ERA over the course of the season, 2.25 in his last 5. 2.25 ERA in his last 5 games, and a 1.73 at home. He's been absolutely fantastic, so I don't worry about that whatsoever. So we're gonna be riding with that. That's gonna be our third and final play of the day. Angels and the A's, no run first inning at -135 odds. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Like I said, we are still currently on the road to 7,000 subscribers, so if you guys are new, make sure that you guys are subbed. And that's going to do it for me. This is King Center signing out. Peace.